very good morning. Without much ado, let me begin this talk by situating where we are today. I've been a bishop for 12 years, more than 12 years in this diocese. When I became the bishop, I proposed this vision to the Archdiocese, that we should build a vibrant, evangelizing, missionary church. Because I feel this is where the church should be moving. And it will also be at sync with what the universal church wants every particular church to do. But this vision of building a vibrant, evangelizing missionary church, I must say, have been slow. It began first and foremost with the conversion experience retreat I started in CSC 20 years ago, and I'm still doing it today. The conversion experience retreat has been good. It has allowed many people to encounter the Lord, to renew their faith, and to want to serve Christ. But even though all those who have encountered the Lord, when they go back to the parishes, there were little that they could do. That was how they felt. Of course, a lot of things have also been done. They have a lot of initiative. But today, we want to speak about another conversion. Actually, this conversion complements the conversion experience retreat. We are going to speak about the pastoral conversion of parish towards an evangelizing mission. This is not what I'm proposing to you. This is what the church is proposing. Pope Francis himself, when he became the Pope, in the apostolic exhortation, the joy of the gospel, he spoke of the need for a pastoral conversion. And recently, from the congregation of the clergy, now becomes the dicastery, they spoke of, they give instruction of how to make our parishes a missionary parish. And so, personal conversion to the Lord is the basis for any kind of mission. You need to have an encounter with the Lord. But having that, now we need to change our parishes to missionary parishes. Let me quote to you the book of Revelation in chapter 3. St. John said, "I know your works. You have a name of being alive, but you are dead. Wake up and strengthen what remains and is on the point of death. For I have not found your works perfect in the sight of my God." Verse 1. Revelation chapter 3, verse 15. "I know your works. You are neither cold or hot. I wish that you were either cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm and neither cold or hot, I am about to spit you out of my mouth. For you say, I am rich, I have prospered, and I need nothing. You do not realize that you are wretched, pitiable, poor, blind, and naked." Verses 15 to 17. You know, there are basically 4 kinds of parishes in existence today. The first, of course, is the dying parish. The dying parish is simply a maintenance church. They provide services, people come and they go, and there is no life, there is no activity, and the church we know is dying. Then we have another form of parish. I call this parish a kind of clubhouse parish, membership. So these people, they come to the church, and the parish functions like a clubhouse. They are parochial-minded. They are concerned not even with the diocese, much less the universal church. And it's all about membership. So only certain members get privileges because they pay their dues, because they're involved. Otherwise, the rest of the Catholics, they are just what we call nominal Catholics. So it is a kind of a maintenance mode as well, but with the prospect of people coming for their services. Now, there is another kind of parish which appears to be, as what the book of Revelation says, to be rich, to be prosperous. These are activity-based parish. They look vibrant, they look dynamic, they have many activities, many programs, mostly social programs they have, but lack spiritual formation, lack missionary zeal, and tends to be inward-looking. So we want to move these kind of parishes to another form of parish, to be missionary parish. And so let me begin by saying, and just a reminder theologically, the very important truth that the church by nature is missionary. And these have been repeated by all the popes. In Vatican II, in Agentes, the church exists to evangelize. Mission is not just one of the church's activities, it is her very identity. Every structure, pastoral plan, initiative must flow from this truth. St. John Paul II said, there must be no lessening of the impetus to preach the gospel to those who are far from Christ. This is the first task of the church, preaching the gospel. And the Latin American bishops said something I thought should be cited. They said, we cannot passively and calmly wait in our church buildings. We need to move from a pastoral ministry of mere conservation to a decidedly missionary pastoral ministry. That's the whole problem. We are waiting in our church buildings for people to come. We are not going out. We are very happy with 1,000 baptism or 1,200 or more or less a year, when I think 2,000 would have died because of old age. We are not even at replacement level. Of course, we are quite happy. Compared to other churches in Europe, we are very good. 1,000 is amazing. But that is not amazing for me. It's good, but can be better. So, Pope Benedict himself also spoke of the urgency of the new evangelization in ordinary ministry, not just to help people to worship God, to be nourished by His word, but to make sure that our baptized, those who are baptized, whose life do not reflect the demands of baptism, and they do not have a meaningful relationship to the church, they must be reached out. This is our nominal Catholics. And finally, those who do not know Jesus, we need to speak to them. And Pope Francis, in the Joy of the Gospel, he said, the church must advance along the path of a pastoral and missionary conversion. And therefore he said, let us be permanently in a state of mission. That is what the church must do. So, this is where it is important to take note, as Pope Francis asked of us, we need to find new ways how best to proclaim the gospel. And this is where I want to speak about pastoral conversion. Pastoral conversion is really at the heart of the new evangelization. Pastoral conversion. It is a very central theme in this phase of evangelization, whereby Christian communities must become ever more centers conducive, first and foremost, to an encounter with Christ. It's good for us to ask ourselves, are our parish parishes, yes, maintenance churches, or really those who come to the parish are given that opportunity to encounter Christ. When they leave the parish, when they leave the church, could we say with confidence they have encountered the Lord? That is a very important question. Therefore, Pope Francis, he said something, and I thought it's good to hear from him. He said, if something should greatly disturb us and trouble our consciences, it is the fact that so many of our brothers and sisters are living without the strength, the light, the consolation, born of friendship with Jesus Christ, without a community of faith to support them, without meaning and a goal in life. This is really sad. That is why I'm passionate about building this diocese into a vibrant, evangelizing missionary church. Whenever I go to church and I see our nominal Catholics, and many who have not come to church because our statistics show we have 380,000 Catholics, it's only 130, 40,000 that comes to church regularly. And why? Our young people are leaving the church after confirmation because they have no real encounter with the Lord. And they don't have a meaningful community to support them. So the pastoral conversion, therefore, means that parishes should not just become a better, more efficient parishes, because that is in the mind of some of our church leaders. If the parish is efficient, runs, like a clock work kind of thing, everything is running, the wardens here, everything efficient, like a military camp, then we can say, therefore, we are very great. That is not the point. The point is, you need to ask yourself, besides being efficient, which is good, certainly, but you must ask yourself whether the parish is a place of evangelizing presence, formation, and witness. Can you say with honesty that your parish has this evangelizing mission, presence, formation? So, in the instruction in 2020, the Congregation of the Clergy says the pastoral conversion of the parish community is in the service of the evangelizing mission of the church. So if the parish is not converted to mission, we cannot get the diocese to move forward. So really, from the bottom of my heart, I thank the Office of New Evangelization, Father Terence and the team, because this is the next step. The church must move forward. The church can never be a vibrant, evangelizing missionary church if the parishes themselves do not undertake a pastoral conversion. If you think the parish is just providing services, baptizing, doing funerals, doing weddings, like a clubhouse, I don't think we can move forward. But then we'd be very contented just to come for Sunday Mass and we go off. Why should we get involved in the parish? Why should we be interested to do more? I just give my donation, $10 or sometimes $2 I give. That should be enough for maintenance of the church. The church doesn't need so much money for maintenance, But for mission, yes, for mission, we need. So it's important, therefore, that pastoral conversion that we are speaking about for the parishes is essentially missionary. So at the end of this symposium, what we want to arrive at, you want to go back to your parish and say, we want to be a missionary parish. And how do we go about it? How do we make our parish really missionary? Reaching out, first and foremost, to our routine Catholics. And then beyond the routine Catholics. Because, in every parish, come on, How many parishioners are active? The most 15%. I give from 5 to 15%. It's the same old people serving the church, some in 4 or 5 ministries. Same old people, always helping out. And not only helping out, some have control over the kingdom. Because they've been there for so many years. Don't change anything, you know. My grandfather, great-grandfather, they were in charge of this ministry. Don't change. They respect great tradition, so to speak. So this is why an ecclesial renewal cannot be deferred. We need to have that missionary in powers capable of transforming and to make our parishes mission-orientated and pastoral-orientated. But I need to make a clarification. I think it's important. Because some of our parishes lack dynamism, vibrancy, or lack vision, some people think that the parish, especially if your parish is a maintenance parish, that it is an outdated institution. But let me tell you, the parish will remain. Okay? We must not think that eventually the new ecclesial movements will take over our parishes. That will not happen. The new ecclesial movement, whether charismatic, neo-cat, and all these groups, they are important. They have a part to play in the renewal of the church. But the parishes cannot be replaced. Why? So I want to reimagine the parish as an evangelizing parish. Firstly, let us examine the parish in a contemporary context. We must also, while speaking about pastoral conversion of parish, must recognize that the parish that we are talking about is not the same parish 40 years ago. The dynamics have changed. Situations have changed. If you want to maintain the parish as it was 50, 100 years ago, then better close shop. It's not going to work. Simply because of considerable social, cultural mobility changes in our times. And therefore, the way we want to take care of our parish communities must change. Because people have changed, cultures have changed. It is important to recognize the parish has a long history from the outset in the life of the Christians, in the development of the church. In fact, in the early church, there were no churches. There were small Christian communities worshiping in the house. They are called domestic churches. In the contemporary context, the parish is envisioned as a response to precise pastoral needs. 40, 50 years ago, what is the parish? The parish is simply for the proclamation of the faith, the celebration of the sacraments. These two things. You preach and you celebrate sacraments. But we also have to take note the etymology of the word parish is important. What is a parish? A parish is a house among houses. That is a parish. A house among houses. And it is a response to the incarnation where Jesus has to be made present concretely in a place where people can meet the risen Lord. Now, as I have said, these territorial configuration of the parish today have been changed drastically. In those days, we just stay in a parish from the day we born until the day we die. In those days, we don't move house so often. Now people move house every other year. In those days, we stay in the parish for life. I was in Hougang almost for life until the government chased me out. In those days, it was okay. You go to the same parish and we don't go out of our little village. When I was young, I went to town only twice a year, Chinese New Year and Christmas, to buy clothes. The rest of the time is all in Hougang, just cycling around, that's it. That kind of home parish, beautiful. But today, our people, they travel, today they have a car, today they take bus, they work in other places. So the parish has changed. They are no longer tied to a place. Every Sunday, they're staying in the Bukit Timah, but their parents, their children are living with their, their parents in Bedok. For Sunday, they attend Mass in Bedok, they're not going to attend Mass in Bukit Timah. So how do you, therefore, look after so-called our parishioners? So one thing is clear. Territorial affiliation no longer works. Come on, if you don't believe, you go and take a statistic of your own parish. How many of your active parishioners belong to your parish? I tell you, more than 40%, even 60% don't belong to your parish. They came from other parishes. And so it's important but also because of digital culture, there is also a danger that people no longer want to be attached to any parish. And so it's a virtual encounter with Jesus through the YouTube, through the internet. I attend Mass now online. I don't need to come to church. It's me and God. That is also a danger because it is not a full encounter with the Lord. So that is why we need to reiterate the value of the parish today. And we need to, again, look after and to become that parish that truly becomes a beacon that radiates the light of faith. So, in a parish today, evangelization is the cornerstone of all pastoral action. And we need, as Pope Francis reminds us, that the parish encourages and trains its members to be evangelizers. The Christian community, therefore, must learn to adapt to the new situation. When I became the bishop, the Methodist bishop presented me what we call a statue. They don't worship John Wesley, okay? So they presented to me a statue of John Wesley. And underneath the statue of John Wesley was a saying. I thought his saying was very profound. You know what was that saying? The world is my parish. The world is my parish. Many of us, because of territorial consideration, we want to become very myopic. My parish. But actually, your parish, there was one priest who, he says, how many parishioners do you have in your parish? Father, I got about 400,000 parishioners. 400,000, where do you get from? I thought your parish only 5,000, because the other 300,000 belongs to my constituency, so they are my parishioners as well. Which is true, because you are called to reach out to people beyond your church, all those under your care. So, the way forward is this. The guiding principle for parish renewal, therefore, is mission. Because, as I've said, the parish territory is no longer a geographical space only. Although, canonically, we still need the parish because we need to, there are certain regulations and laws that we need to keep in place for what we call administration. But in truth, the context in which people live their lives today is in terms of relationship, reciprocal service. That is how a parish today is functioned. So, if the parish does not exude that spiritual dynamic of evangelization, what will happen? It runs the risk of being self-referential, fossilized, and devoid of evangelical missionary fervor. When we became self-referential. That's why when a parish is inward looking, in a maintenance mode, I tell you, the parish will die. It's the same for our Catholics. I always tell Catholics, you need to be an evangelizer. Why? Not to save the people first, to save your own soul. Because we evangelize ourselves when we evangelize others. The day when we stop evangelizing others, we will lose our own faith. Either we evangelize the world, or the world will secularize us. The choice is yours. If we don't evangelize the world will secularize us. And that is what is happening precisely. So, ecclesial membership today, in our present age, is less a question of birthplace, not where were you born, but whether you are part of a community by adoption, whether you are with the community, journeying with the community. So, the parish community in today's consideration, therefore, is where sacraments are celebrated, charity is exercised, all with missionary zeal. That is what the parish is called to do today. Where you were born, this is not important. What is important is whether you are part of that community. That is why there are many of you who behave like the bishop, Every Sunday go to a different church. But you're not a bishop. I'm the head of the diocese. Every day you say, okay, I think today I sleep late. I think where's the nearest church? I just go. There is no commitment. There is no serious commitment to give myself to the work of the community, to collaborate with the community for a shared mission. Nothing. It's just like going for a show to see which is the latest show. And sometimes, of course, which priest is preaching, very important also. That is also important. So, 3 characteristics of a missionary parish. The 3 hallmarks, they're important. It embodies what we call the vision of the Archdiocese, building a vibrant, evangelizing missionary church. Now, what we call the conversion of the parish, the missionary parish movement, therefore, what OND is trying to do is to concretize our archdiocesan vision and mission, how to make this church a vibrant, evangelizing missionary church. Because we have been saying this vision all the time, but people do not know how to apply it, how to concretize it in their life. So this missionary identity belongs to all of us. So what is the ultimate goal that we want to arrive at when we're talking about building our parish? A parish is a community of communities. There are different communities in the parish. It must be inclusive, evangelizing, and of course, reaching out to the poor. And I want to reflect on these 3 priorities in conjunction with the Archdiocesan Pastoral Council, where we have formulated the pastoral priorities, which we just launched on September the 8th. Because ONE does not work in silo. All of us, we are working for the same goal, and we want to complement each other. So, what is the first priority, one of the most important priority of ABC? Building faith communities. That is critical. So, the first hallmark, therefore, is a culture of encounter. It is in encountering that the church becomes vibrant. And how can we make the church truly having that culture of encounter? A vibrant parish is not just being active. So it can have lots of activities, but it mean nothing. What is important is that in a parish, the parishioners are relational and spirit-filled. That is why you can go to any parish. When the people are warm and friendly and nice and caring, we want to be there. Unfortunately, sad to say, many of our young people are drawn to Protestant churches because they say they have genuine fellowship there. While we do not have genuine fellowship, so they look for Jesus concretely in other places. So the parish, therefore, must become the place where people encounter Jesus directly and through each other. But relational is very important. We cannot underscore the need of a community for us to grow in faith. So the parish community is the first place of personal encounter. People will meet the face of our Lord in the body of Christ, in the parish. That is why, one of the most important ways in the work of evangelization is reaching out to the poor, to the suffering, to the wounded. Many are not coming to church because they feel the church don't care for them. I have children who are physically, mentally challenged, but I'm not welcome. My children cries in church. Oh, people stare at them and wardens chase them out. They don't feel welcome. So it is important, therefore, compassion is what touches people's life. And from our own pastoral experience, one of the things, I don't go for weddings. And weddings is okay, everybody is happy. I love to go for wakes. When I go for one wake, whole family is converted. In my own life as a priest, if there is only one Catholic, the rest non-Catholic, when you go for the funeral wake, you show your condolence, show your concern, everybody is converted. Because they need to see the love of Christ concretely in their life. So the parish, therefore, when we talk about encounter, must be open to all, reaching out to everyone without exception, including, of course, our migrants and the poor. So when we speak about this encounter, we are speaking about a synodal church, actually. A synodal church that is listening, that is journeying with one another, that is welcoming, that has hospitality. Then we become a sign of communion. So is your parish that way? Even in our parishes, when I became bishop, when I visited the parish initially, when I became bishop, I reminded the ministry, the church people, I say it's not just ministering, it's not just serving a church ministry. I sing well, I serve the mass. Yeah, that is important, that is functional. Then I ask them, your ministry, what kind of growth formation do you have? Is there any growth? It's just function. We come for meeting, how to do this, how to do that, everything, yes. We have all these things. It's just serving. Whether you die or not, if you die, it's okay, we got other people to welcome. We are not concerned. Do you have any prayer together? Any study of the scriptures? Nothing. It's all service. Whether it's extraordinary ministry of communion, whether it's the choir members, nothing. How can we serve without growing in faith together? That is why there was one church, I won't mention which. The president altar boy, now he is the chief of the Muslim converts in Singapore. We Catholics have produced many pastors also. They all told me, Father, I was actually in a Catholic church before. We have many great pastors. We have done great work anyway. We have actually helped to build the Christian churches. But because they couldn't find Christ in our church, they joined the Protestant church. So we must therefore be in contact with the homes and the lives of people. Secondly, the second hallmark is a pathway for lifelong missionary disciple making. That is what we call building or evangelizing church. Now you must understand this. In the second pastoral priority of the APC, what is that? Formation. When we are talking about discipleship, we are talking about formation. An evangelizing parish, therefore, helps people grow in faith from conversion to maturity to mission. And Pope Francis reminds us, we are missionary disciples always. We are never missionary. We are never disciples. We are missionary disciples. A disciple must always be missionary, and a missionary must always be a disciple. We never graduate from our faith, so to speak. And so this is where it's important. Everyone must be equipped. Everyone must be trained to be evangelizers. And so the parish is where we come to receive that formation, receive that support for our ministry. And understanding this within formation, remember there's the other pastoral priority of APC, which is mission in communion. Mission in communion. So if we want to form ourselves, and this is what we're doing, that's why ONE is inviting all the parishes to come. Because, precisely, we need to look beyond our own parish and reach out to other parishes across the diocese. We are all in one mission. It is not about my church. It is our church. Your parishioners will one day be parishioners of another church. We are building one another up. And therefore, there's a necessity to integrate other church institutions. And this is where basic communities, small communities, or the associations, or the new movement, charismatic, neo-KF, all of them, to work together. Because this is such a big task, a big mission. No single parish or ministry can go at this alone. We cannot. We need to help each other. And that is why in the archdiocesan level, we have what we call Office of Evangelization, Office of Young People, Catechetics. We have what we call humanitarian organizations like Caritas. All this to help us. Because we need to collaborate, synergize with one another, to connect with them. I got 5 more minutes. So the third hallmark is to have an evangelizing, what we call presence in the neighborhood and beyond. So at the end of the day, it is important that a missionary parish exists not only for its members, but for the world. And this is why we must take seriously the church's presence in our neighborhood. And I'm very happy to say that some of our parishes actually have become more missionary-minded. Like, for example, Christmas. They no longer celebrate Christmas by themselves. Christmas, they actually go out and invite others in their neighborhood to come and join in the celebration. You know, sometimes I feel uneasy, you know. Whenever I attend a Catholic function, like a Catholic dinner, it's all social. Singing, dancing, everything, always good lah, certainly good. But when I attend a Christian so-called social function, it's nothing but, it's very spiritual. They have worship, they have songs, they have testimonies of God's love, God's experience. They even have a preaching in the midst of the dinner. And then after that, they again have worship and song and sharing. It's very, very Christ-centered. Ours is social-centered. When you attend a Christian dinner, you come out, you feel, wow, it's not only a physically fed, you are spiritually fed. But for us, we all don't know how to socialize because we don't know how to, what we call, bring the faith into our celebration. So it's important that we need to reach out. And this is where a parish first reach out to those in the neighborhood, and this is where it is so important because the best way to reach out to them, besides, which includes announcing the gospel explicitly, but it's actually through works of charity. That is why our humanitarian organization, Caritas, Caris, all these are very important. St. Vincent de Paul, because they are the, what we call ambassadors, the face of Jesus' mercy to others. When the church is merciful, we will attract people. Come on. The early church was built, was established for, who joined them? All the Gentiles, the slaves. The own Jewish people never joined them. That's why the church, in the early church, all those people who joined the church, they were nobody. Many of them were slaves. But this is where we need to really, even for us, the Catholic schools, in those days, the Catholic school, 95% were non-Catholics. Not even 5%. But the brothers were there. The brothers were good witnesses. And then we were all converted. It is, and through education, through service, through charity. So, conclusion, therefore, is this. Once we begin with the neighborhood, then we can go beyond. Some of you want to go and proclaim the gospel to the whole world, but in your own backyard, you're not proclaiming the gospel. We begin with the backyard first, and then the whole world. And so, I conclude, as they have concluded, at the end of the day, it is not human work. It is the Spirit. The Spirit is the heart of parish conversion. That's why we can say all these things. If you don't pray, if you don't encounter Jesus, you don't develop an intimate relationship with Him, all these things will be failure. It's another human strategy. It doesn't work. We need people who are motivated by the love for Jesus, by the love for His brothers and sisters. And you will go all out, even if you are 68 years old. That's me. So, my dear brothers and sisters, truly, the Holy Spirit is at work. And I tell you honestly, when I started being a bishop, I did not know how this vision of building a vibrant, evangelizing missionary church will work. All I know is this is what we call the vision that the Lord gave to me. I do not know how it's going to work. But over the years, I can tell you honestly, and there were a lot of struggles, a lot of obstacles. But over the years, the Lord has shown us the way. Step by step, it's unfolding. And we are going for a great time, honestly, with the APC, with the parishes, becoming missionary parishes. I think we will be able to really, truly bring Jesus to everyone. And I hope we will build another 33 churches to accommodate the 150,000 who have not been coming to church. Praise God. Thank you.